Hi, everybody who's watching on Facebook, everyone who's entering the room right now, the Zoom room. Ooh, that sounds fun. And everybody who's watching the replay. If you are watching the replay, I do invite you to write replay in the comments on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, I invite you to press replay on YouTube in the comments, just so we know who's watching, who's got an interest in this. So today is I'm going live with a dear friend of mine, and I'm always so excited to go live with this person because he is such an inspiration for so many different reasons. One of the reasons being he has created a hello, Kat, multiple streams of income within a network marketing company by helping people reach their full potential in network marketing, but also through the incorporation of superfoods and healthy organic nutrition. And so to me, that's super inspiring because he is part of a movement, a mission, and a vision to make the world a better place in so many different ways. So the first one is by incorporating these superfoods and helping people be healthy through nutrition, which is my number one goal, that people have access to high density quality food. The second is because he has helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people create an extra stream of income, which today we know is so important for us to find, to be stable in our lives. Sorry, there's other people coming in. I'm just going to let them in. This is a huge aspect of this that I find so inspiring, is that we're all looking for that extra stream of income. Right. The prices of things have increased, okay, whether it be food, your mortgages, the schools that children are going to. I know that Eric is in the United States, so the cost of medical practice is not like up here in Canada. I'm from Canada. And so it's everything is the cost of living is so high, and Eric has personally, directly and indirectly helped so many people create that extra stream of income, and that to me is very inspiring. And he did it while working a full-time Fortune 200 company corporate job, okay? So a high-level stress job, okay? And he was able to do that and help so many people do it. And you know what happens when we help so many people achieve their health and their financial goals? Well, you get rewarded tenfold, okay? And so Eric is a really big inspiration for me. I am so happy to have him here with us today because we get to pick at his brain a little bit, know a little bit of his story. I know his story, but I want to share it with everybody who's never heard it before. And I'll be asking him questions also about what does he think we need and what does he know we need to create the kind of business that will help people along the way and that will in turn reward you back tenfold, if not more. Okay. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Eric Mish, who's in Florida, and have him come share a little bit about his journey in the past
12
10
years.
years, 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years.
Thank you so much for the kind words and that amazing introduction. It's hard to believe that I'm 12 years in. I would have never thought, when I started 12 years ago, that I would have been able to either directly or mostly indirectly inspire so many people way beyond my wildest dreams, some 80, close to 88,000 people now around the world. And through this business model, I've been able to meet so many incredible people like you, Kiev, and many people on this call today. And perhaps the best thing that has come out of this, outside of seeing all of the amazing transformations, is the really powerful friendships that have come out of this. And there's so many benefits to this business that one doesn't even realize when they first embark on it, that you end up really appreciating later on. And we just had an incredible 20th anniversary convention, and I got to meet a lot of the people that I've been interacting with online and just have gotten to know over the course of the years, but we never were able to meet in person. And meeting everyone in person, you really feel the power of the community. So I appreciate that so much. But my my journey, as you mentioned, began 12 years ago. As you said, I was working that very demanding corporate job. And if anyone has ever been in they call it the corporate grind for a reason. It really is a grind. And I felt it. There's a lot of pressure to produce. Time is very limited. I was always running around from one appointment to the next. Half the time, I didn't even get a chance to eat. And there's a lot of stress involved. And stress, stress can be a real killer, and it is as bad for people's health as drinking excessive alcohol, smoking, bad nutrition. Stress can be a real killer. I
Mhm.
certainly was experiencing it. Many of my associates were experiencing it. I saw it affecting their relationships and eventually affecting their health. And I knew I was on that path as well. At the time, I was addicted to caffeine, drinking 8 to 12 cups of strong Cuban/Colombian coffee. Here in South Florida, it's culture. It's part of the culture. It's just what we do. But I found myself wanting more and more stimulants because just to get through the day, that's what I felt I needed at the time. My adrenal glands were totally burnt out. I was getting sick all the time. In fact, at one point in 2009, I got the swine flu and I put me on multiple rounds of antibiotics, and my immune system was just wrecked, and I knew something had to change. And that's when uh, a complete stranger introduced me to the power of superfoods. And it was life changing. And I had, of course, an incredible transformation. I was able to cut back and completely quit the coffee, because not because I just didn't like it anymore. I didn't need it. I was feeling so much energy
Mhm.
from these raw dehydrated superfoods that I just didn't feel like I needed it. So I got the same sustained energy without the crash. In the process, I also just naturally got leaner. I ended up losing 25 pounds of body fat I didn't even know I had. I just got ripped and shredded and got into the best shape of my life, and in my late 30s. And I felt so amazing. I felt so clean. My gut health, my digestion improved. I finally was able to feel like, I didn't have to worry about getting sick all the time. And it just felt amazing. So, of course, there was this incredible transformation, and I had to share it. Well, I didn't even have to, because people started asking me. They just started noticing the changes within me and started asking me. And it created a very anticipated and expected business model. It turned into an income stream. But being that I have a background in marketing, started realizing the potential of this business and what it could be. And what really caught my attention is the first few checks that came in, which started off small. They started growing within time. And I started realizing that I could, number one, get my products paid for. But then as the checks started rolling in, I realized I could pay some bills that I wasn't able to pay before. And believe it or not, even though I made great money in the corporate world, I had a ton of debt at the time. I was carrying tens of thousands of revolving credit card debt, not the good kind. And so I wanted to pay that off as well. And so I was able to, within a few years, I paid off over $30,000 of credit card debt. I was able to save up for a house in 2015. We bought our place, my dream house. I was able to save up for that. And I continued to have goals. One, to continue inspiring myself to stay on the path of health and wellness, but then also to create leadership within my team. And since then, I've been able to help 6 or 7 people achieve a multiple six-figure income
Mhm.
in this business. I've seen a few be able to leave their demanding jobs as well and do this full time, as I was able to do in 2020. I was finally able to leave the corporate world after almost 15 years and do this full time. Now I just enjoy residual income, and there's an incredible lifestyle attached to it. things that I never knew was possible. I used to be governed by the alarm clock every single day, get up at, you know, 6 or 7 in the morning, on the road by, 7:45, battling traffic here in South Florida. It's so exhausting to be on the road for 45 minutes to an hour and a quarter. You get to the office, you're already tired when you get there, and then you finally get there and you realize, oh, I still got a full day of work ahead of me. And then, you go back and it's another hour and a half in rush hour traffic here. By the time you get home, you're just too tired to work out. You're too tired to cook and spend time with, your spouse or your family because you're just exhausted. That's not the kind of life that, I want to live or is healthy. That's really what every day looked like. So in 2020, I decided to make a rather bold move for me and leave my job, and pursue this as a full-time lifestyle. And so now I get up anytime I want. It changes every day. I don't have a set time. If I need more sleep, I sleep in. I'm able to make my own schedule. Every day looks different. I always like to revolve my day around personal care. So my workouts, my sauna work, nutrition are now kind of my set appointments, which is cool. And everything works around that. And because my schedule's flexible, I can do that. And it's, I live here in South Florida near the beach. I love going to the beach to work. I don't work well. I found out that I don't work well in a closed environment. I'm more of an outdoors type person. So I like fresh air. I like sunshine. Preferably I like to be by the ocean. I, like breathing in the salt air. It makes me feel energized and helps me think clear. So that's where I like to do my work, from places like that. And now I can do that. I also enjoy spending time with my little baby Alfalfa, my little 7-year-old Maltipoo. He's with me almost all day. Never could do that before. I used to hate leaving him at home, just going, leaving him in the morning, and I knew I wouldn't be able to see him all day. That really broke my heart. So now I get to spend all day with him. And then earlier this year, my wife was able to join me on the journey as well. She was working a corporate job after 17 years.
Mhm.
She was finally able to leave. And she's I think 42 or 43 years old. So to be able to do that, in my 40s, I had a goal of doing it by 45 and I did it by 44 and a half. So I made my goal
So you
by
did it.
6 months. And, it's great, obviously, living this kind of lifestyle, being able to travel and do things. But then the best part is also helping others to be able to do that as well. And I get a thrill out of seeing people live their best life. People like Allison and Jared, people like you, people like Sonia Magruder. She was working in the real estate grind for I don't even know how 15 or 20 years. And she finally was able to, she calls it recovering realtor. But just those are the success stories that really drive me now. And it's really special to see how many people are winning in this environment when you give them the opportunity and the right tools and the right support to see just what is possible, what they can do when they reach their full potential.
I love that. Thank you. I love how concise and thorough your story is from the day you started to, incorporating superfoods into your diet to removing coffee and feeling good and then sharing it with the world. And then helping us along the way. And now I think your mission now is really set on helping us help more people, right? Which is really, really beautiful. I have a couple questions for you. There's a lot of people now. I know you have a background in marketing, okay? But one of the questions I have, there's a lot of people sometimes who might be reluctant to doing this kind of business, and the reason would be, I'm not good at sales. Okay, I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm not a salesperson. Now, here's my answer. I'm not a salesperson. I am the furthest thing from a salesperson. And but I find that when you share something that you love, a product that you love and a product that helped you, you're not you're not selling, you're just sharing something that worked for you, and you're sharing your story the way that you just did. And so I'm not a salesperson, but what would you say to somebody like that?
It's interesting. People that tend to do really, really well in network marketing are usually not the salespeople. For some
Hmm.
reason, I don't know why, but the salespeople struggle a lot of times because they're so used to the transaction of selling a product or service that when they get to networking, which is it's different, it's a different skill set. There's are some aspects of selling, but it's more about team building. It's more about being authentic and sharing our stories. And so people who typically aren't like the sales people type are usually the ones that attract a lot of people because they're just authentic. They're not even trying to sell anything. They're just sharing their story. They're excited. They've had an incredible transformation and they're just sharing it with others. And so that is oftentimes a lot more authentic than those people that are just trying to sell a product or sell a business model. So, networking is a lot different than sales in a lot of ways. So for those people, they could do really, really well in network marketing. In fact, most of the people that have achieved the highest levels of success don't have sales backgrounds. So that's interesting. We have teachers, we have coaches, we have trainers, we have, former athletes, we have people like that. But I mean, architects, I mean, the most unlikely of sources, engineers, if you go into the backgrounds of like the crown leaders in the company, I can't even think of one that even has a sales background. It's like they're just not salespeople by nature. So I think there's something to be said for that. What they are is authentic. They're excited. They're coachable. And so those are the attributes that have gotten them to the top rather than having all of those quote unquote sales skills.
I love that. Thank you. And you're right. I'm like thinking about everyone I know who's successful in network marketing, and not just within the pure community, but even outside. I've got other network marketer friends, and who have known great success. And I can't. You're right. I can't think of a single one that had a sales background. So it's really interesting because it's really. I think that's what I love so much about this business is that you really stay authentic because your story is so authentic, and because the only reason you would be sharing a product like this is because you love it, right? So it really comes from a place of honesty, and because you can't sell something you don't love. And I would like to ask you also, um if there
And
were
it's not to
three.
say that salespeople can't do well. I don't want to exclude them either. They
Yeah.
can. But you know, I've worked with a lot of salespeople in the past, and
Yeah.
one of the things that they oftentimes need to do is get past their ego, because in most
Mm,
sales environments, it's all about the I. It's all about your personal achievements. Being on the leaderboard. We used to have every week we had a leaderboard that came out, and it was very competitive. And so there's no I in team. So when you're building a team, it's a little bit of a different strategy. You're more focused on helping others achieve success as the way for you to achieve success than making it all about you. So if you have a salesperson that can grasp that concept, which sometimes it's hard because it's so ingrained, they can do very, very well as well. It's just, they may have some obstacles that others don't have, and they may have some advantages that others don't have. So, what you see in the profession of network marketing is people from a variety of backgrounds
mhm.
that are successful. And really the point is that anyone can be successful if if they want to be.
Of course. And you just touched on obstacles. I'd like to touch on that a little bit because you're at a point now in your network marketing career that you didn't get there the easy way, right? There is no easy way to build success in anything that you pursue, and especially not building a business, building a team. There are obstacles to face along the way, and so what I would like to know is what are three attributes that you would share that you believe are what you need to create a successful network marketing organization, and to face these obstacles. Like what do you need
Yeah,
for
good
that to happen?
question. So the first one I would say is you need to be coachable. Really important, because a lot of times people come in to the profession and they want to reinvent the wheel. That was
Mhm.
me for a long time, till I realized that I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. One of the benefits of network marketing is that you don't have to recreate the wheel. There's usually the tools are created for you, which means that you can implement them very quickly and they can be duplicated very quickly. Now,
Mhm.
if you don't rely on those tools, if you don't use them, you're probably relying on your own ability and you're going to struggle. So that's one of the things that I learned is just be coachable, be able to take the direction. I'm a huge believer in the fact that success leaves clues. You look for the most successful people and you look to emulate things that they do well. Doesn't mean you have to be them. You can still be yourself. You find the things that they're doing very well and you look for ways of repeating what they're doing, and it typically will lead to success, because if something is working, then it's working. And if it could work for them and others, then by extension, it can work for you. It can work for me. So that's number one, be coachable. Number two is very important, and that is to be consistent. Consistency. And this is something I also struggled with in the beginning, is that I had a lot of starting and stopping. And I didn't realize how much that was uh, thwarting my own success. It was,
Mhm.
in a sense, a form of self-sabotage. I would start, I would see some success, and then for some reason, I backed off and things would slow down again. And it's something I had to learn. And I don't think we're born with a consistency gene. I think it's something we have to practice and get good at. So I had to learn that. So that's really key. This is network marketing is a lot about building results over the course of time. Think about what I just said, over the course of time.
Mhm.
And what most people don't realize is the power of short-term efforts done consistently over time. They think that to push the needle, you need big, massive pushes. And a lot of times when they do that, they get tired or exhausted, and they feel the pain from that because it's something they're not used to. And then they stop. AKA, you haven't gone to the gym in 3 months and you feel like you're totally out of shape. You want to make up for time. So what do? We go to the gym, we work out for 2 hours straight. Okay. And what happens the next day, the next few days? We're beat up, we're sore. We go in, we realize how much we hate the gym. We hate it. We're sore, we're complaining. Oh, I feel all the aches and pains. What a better strategy is, try just work out 5 minutes a day for 1 week straight. Focus on consistency. It's not the amount of effort, it's small effort done consistently over time. And typically what's going to happen is, see, after a 5 minute workout, you feel actually more energized than exhausted. And so you wake up the next day and you feel like, oh, wow, I'm not completely beat up. I feel like I got a little workout in yesterday. And now you're ready to do it again today.
Mhm.
And it's that repetition over time that helps us to build habits. And that's what we're trying to do. It's the same thing with nutrition and our lifestyle. That's why we have the 90-day ultimate lifestyle transformation. We're trying to build habits, like just incorporating one green drink a day, taking a few plant-based amino acids a day. So we're just trying to build healthier habits. In this case, we're trying to build positive entrepreneurial habits that are going
Mhm.
to pay dividends over time. So we got to be patient as we're focusing on that consistency. Number three is being resilient.
Yeah.
It's being resilient. So resiliency is being able to overcome adversity. And for many people, when they meet adversity, they literally run away from it. I don't want anything to do with adversity or something that's hard. Some people tolerate adversity. That's what most people do. They just deal with it. Oh, I know it's part of success, so I just kind of try to get through it. When we learn to actually embrace adversity, we see it from a whole different perspective. And one thing this business teaches us is when things get hard, which they will, and this goes for any business, being an entrepreneur is hard. Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
kind of business you're building. But when you meet with adversity, with trial, with something that's difficult, a disappointment, for example, is instead of just throwing your hands up and giving up, you lean in. You
Hmm.
actually lean in at that moment. And you know what happens is it gets easier after a while. You get to a certain point because that becomes a habit too. It's like, what do I do when adversity strikes, when I'm disappointed? You get to a point where you not only expect adversity, you actually look at it as an opportunity. Growth happens during adversity. That's how, you need resistance in order, like if you're working out, going back to that analogy again, you're lifting weights, you need to somehow resist the muscle, either through bands or weights or something, in order for it to grow. There's no growth without resistance. The same thing happens to our character. We build character in tough moments, not when things are flying high and
Hmm.
we're celebrating success and top of the mountain. We're just celebrating. We're not really growing. We grow in times of adversity. So learning how to embrace that, that is something that a lot of people have to learn how to do. I know I did too. And there's a great book, Adversity Advantage, that talks about our perspective towards things that are hard, towards things that are difficult. And so, anyway, so you learn that in this process as well. And so those are the three things I would say is coachability, consistency, and then resilience.
So I want to get a little bit personal over here because now, the people who don't know you, who are seeing you for the first time, you look like, for someone who's just starting out or who wants to start out, your your reality right now may feel out of reach for them. Okay, so I want to humanize you more. Okay, and I want to
Do it.
know, in the past 12 years, you've talked about learning how to be consistent. It was something that you had to learn. Learning about how to be resilient, right? I would like to have, oh wow, there's beautiful thunder outside. I would like to hear a story of an obstacle that you faced personally and how you had to learn how to become resilient or how to become consistent. What is something that you faced yourself
Mm.
that you had to learn? One of those first moments that you were like, oh, I need to be more resilient, or I need to be more consistent because otherwise this is the outcome. And I don't want this outcome anymore. I want this one. Is there a
I
story? Is
think
there a
that the
moment?
challenge in that is picking which one.
One of the first ones. One of the
Well,
first
I'll
ones.
tell you one that stands out in my
Yeah.
mind. It's probably one of the biggest ones well, there's actually a few moments where I had to rebuild my team, rebuild my business, because
Mm,
one of the areas that's most disappointing in this business, as I think most businesses, is disappointments when it comes to people. We're
mm,
dealing with a people business. This is a business of relationships. And oftentimes, people, because they're not perfect, including all of us on this call today, none of us are perfect.
mhm,
We disappoint each other and we
mhm,
disappoint ourselves sometimes.
mhm.
And so dealing with those disappointments is something that can be a challenge, and I know it has been for me, as well in the past. And some of the people that I had the highest hopes for, that I thought they're going to go all the way to the top, and they got to a certain point, and then whether it was they stopped believing in themselves, they got distracted, for whatever reason, they stopped along their journey.
Mhm.
They turned around and they started walking back the other way. It's like imagine climbing a mountain all the way to the
Yeah.
summit. And so you're walking up the mountain. So you get like halfway up to the mountain. And it's hard. You're climbing, right? The air's getting thinner. But you see the summit in sight, and you know that, hey, I just gotta keep walking
Yeah.
higher up. And so they get to the middle, and then I can't do this. It's just too hard. And you're there, you're encouraging them, and you can do it, and and all that. And then they just, no, I can't. They turn around and they go back down the mountain.
Mm,
And that is a very hard thing to deal with. And
mhm.
especially when you've invested so much time and energy into helping people get halfway up the mountain, because essentially when you're on an ascent you're ascending a mountain. I'm going to equate it to that. Think of the business journey. You're mentoring and sponsoring and coaching people,
Yeah.
and so you're more than just a cheerleader. You're invested in them,
Mhm.
a tremendous amount of time, effort, and energy to help them personally develop and achieve leadership. And then for them to just on their own give up for no apparent reason other than they allow some self-limiting beliefs to get in the way, and
Mhm.
they just decide that they can't do it, even though they can, but they don't believe they can.
Mhm.
It's a really tough pill to swallow. And the one thing that we were impressed upon here at convention is the rule of 49s, that you
Yeah.
can't want something more for someone than they want it for themselves, whether it's a physical transformation, health journey, it's a personal development journey, it's a journey towards entrepreneurial success and financial wellness. You can't want that more for them than they want it for themselves.
Mhm.
So when they turn around and walk the other way, it's hard. But what I've learned is in the way of love is that you have to let them go sometimes. You got to let them go. And that's a hard thing to do. And so I've had more than a few people uh, turn around and walk the other way. And what you have to realize, and going back to my third point, resilience, is that you can't let a few people discourage you from continuing on your journey. Okay, whether people join you or not, you have to be so resilient that even if some of the people that got you to a certain point turn around and walk back the other way, you will continue marching on. And that's what I decided to do. And so I've had a couple of transitions within my team, but I've kept moving forward. And after each of those periods, I've noticed a period of growth. It's almost like space is opening up for more people. So it's really helped impress me that sometimes the biggest obstacles are really opportunities in disguise. This is what we have to remember. Someone decides to leave your team on their own accord. Instead of taking it personally, I mean, it's really hard. You take it personally and start questioning your own leadership. You look at that as an opportunity. And I've seen several people step up after those transitions, and so it allows you to be able to refine yourself and your team and find the people who truly want this, who are willing to go the distance with you. And it takes some time to find that tribe. Uh, it's almost just it's a little bit of a sorting process. It's a sifting process, and that just takes time. This is why patience is so important in this business. And it takes time to get your core, your nucleus, and it keeps getting stronger and more refined with time. And so you cannot, my mentor used to always tell me, don't major in the minors. Don't major in the minors. What I used to think was the biggest major disappointment, like someone would quit on me. I look back now and I'm like, it's just part of the business. It's just part of it. It's what I signed up for. So I'm not going to let that discourage me. I'm just going to continue forward and find the people that want to move forward with me. So there has been some major disappointments, and they've involved, most of them have involved people. The other biggest obstacles I faced, really myself, own self-limiting beliefs. Me telling myself for many years in the corporate world, I told myself, I don't have the time to work this business. I don't have enough time. I can't work a 60, 70-hour job and still build a business on the side. And I finally realized, like, Eric, what are you doing? Drop the nonsense already. Drop that. You're talking yourself out of it instead of trying to talk yourself into it. You're talking yourself out of it. And so I finally got a little tough with myself. I did. And I told myself to drop the nonsense. And that was the moment where I made the decision to not let, anything hold me back. So probably the biggest obstacles we face are ourselves, but then we also, battle just the normal challenges that come with relationships, whether personal or business, but there's challenges with that, but we get through all of them.
Wow, I don't think in all the lives you and I have ever done together, I don't think we ever went this deep in your journey, um on this journey. Like, I don't think we've ever gone that deep and actually had you share this part and of it. And I'm so happy that you did, because uh I guess where I'm at now within this company, um I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about,
And
because it has
listen,
happened to me.
if
And
you haven't experienced this yet, you're just not
you
far
will.
long enough yet. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. Not
Like,
to be negative, but it is coming. It's just part of it. And that's what you learn. But
mhm.
you learn not to let it stop you. You learn to let it motivate you.
Yeah. And it might even start before you even get to that. You're talking about people leaving, having full people just like almost reach the top. They're like right there.
Yeah.
And then they turn
Yeah.
around. And sometimes you have people that didn't even start climbing yet. And didn't even start climbing that mountain yet. And they turned around already. And you're like, sometimes it's like that. And you're like, is it me? And so this is why it's a personal development program that is free. Okay. This is free therapy, guys. Okay. Where you realize it's not you, and everything is just a reflection of the sum of their experiences, right? And so all you can do is keep going and keep leading and keep shining, right? Like that's all you can do. You can't pull people in, right? You can't do that. People don't like to be pulled in. If someone tells me what to do, I'm like, no thank you. you know that's why I do this business, is because nobody's telling me what to do. And you can't pull them in, so the only thing you can do is keep going forward and just showing the way, right? You're an incredible trailblazer, Eric. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you've got very busy things to do, like personal care and some time with alfalfa.
The sauna is calling me. No, I really enjoyed this discussion, and thank you for going deeper with me. I mean, we could do probably a 2-hour live just on, disappointments and obstacles and challenges. They're just a part of our business. They're a part of our life, and I really feel like the resiliency muscle is the one that we all need to build. We got to get it stronger, and it can get stronger with time. But thank you so much for pulling that pulling that part of my journey out, and just giving me a platform to share my story.
Of course, always. And I'm so grateful that you took the time and came to share that with us, and that Jackie also gives you the time for us to have you with us.
Anytime.
And yeah, thank you so much. Anybody who's watching this, whether I know we've got so many amazing people logged into Zoom right now, but everyone also who's watching the Facebook live stream, the replay, the YouTube replay, because I will be sharing this everywhere. There are so many golden nuggets in this call. Please, right, replay. And if this is something that interests you, if there's anything that Eric has shared or that I have shared, I didn't share that much, but anything that we've shared that resonates with you, I invite you to get in touch. Really get in touch. We're here to pay it forward. We were given this gift, and now our duty as citizens of this world is to share it and to pay it forward. Like, this is what we're here for. So we invite you to get in touch with us, and for a multitude of reasons. We've got so many solutions to so many problems. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. And with this, I wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful evening, and we'll be in touch again very soon, because I am consistent now. A muscle I also had to learn. I had to train. So thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much, everyone.